Hey guys, it's Deborah. So I have something really exciting today to talk about. I'm so excited. I am in my backyard again with my kids, so like previous video, there will be noise probably. Anyway, but I know you guys are okay with that. So, okay, so what you see here is a timeline of Daniel 11. So basically 69 weeks have been fulfilled for the Jews, and they have the last week, Daniel's 70th week, which is a week is actually 7 years, to be fulfilled still. So this chart is it's accurate. I think it's a pretty good chart. It actually shows the rapture, tribulation, and millennial reign and eternity at the end. But prior to that, we're talking about what's before that. So yeah, the reason I want to talk about this is something crazy happened. My daughter, who's only 12, came to me and she was like, and she's into, looking into some Bible prophecy and stuff too. And she, reads the Bible in her own praise. Like I'll walk into her room and she's just praying and reading, and she's definitely has discernment. And I've shared before, not on this channel, but I really should share an amazing vision that she had. That was before I even woke up to the Lord, a vision of the second coming, awake vision. So I'll share that another time, but basically she's watching for the Lord as well. Anyway, so she came to me and said, "Mommy, I have to show you something that's crazy that happened on my video game." And if you guys don't, I don't know if you know much about the Nintendo Switch. So if you have kids, you probably do. And even if you don't, you might play it or whatever. But there's a really popular game called Animal Crossing. It's just a new game that they've come out with. Anyway, so it's, like I said, on the Nintendo Switch. And this game popped up and showed her. It gave her a message. And she brought it to me right away. She's like, "Mommy, I think this means something." Anyway, and she's been reading the Bible and praying on it. Anyway, so it actually kind of got revealed to me after what she showed me. So I'll show you what she saw on her screen. But first, I just want to say, prior to this video, if you haven't seen several videos ago, I've done an in-depth study on Daniel 11. The Lord led me to Daniel 11 because in Daniel 11, it talks about the Antichrist dividing the land for gain. And several of my videos, he has led me to talk about the division of Israel and the annexation and all that stuff and why it's not a good idea. And that the peace deal is going to kind of promote that and whatever. So this is all has to happen. It's part of prophecy. But the main thing is I wanted to remind you guys that he's been leading me down this path of reading Daniel 11. And in the past, I used to see or wake up in the night seeing 12:12. I guess at midnight. Please stop. Lila, come away from there. Anyway, so yeah, I would see 12:12, or all I remember, this was a year ago. I had been led to read Daniel 12 and Revelation 12, and he was showing me how they match up, and Daniel 12, Revelation 12, back and forth. Now, this time, it's Daniel 11 and Revelation 11, okay? So it's kind of crazy. He's leading me to that, and I'll show you why I started looking into that because of her video game. But about this chart, again, I said, Daniel 11 is been fulfilled up until, it's the chart, so there was different empires, and we're going to read it together. I'm going to read Daniel 11 with you, and we're going to go through it as quick as we can. But yeah, it's been fulfilled. There's been empires, Persian empires, Grecian empire, Roman, all this stuff. It's been fulfilled. There was a forerunner to the Antichrist, which is Antiochus Epiphanes. And this is, I guess, advanced. It's not I'm not telling you the basics of things. So if you don't understand stuff, I'm really sorry. I got to get this out. So basically, this stuff has been fulfilled in Daniel 11, but it is dual fulfillment. So just like there was Babylon and there's Mystery Babylon, there's the real king of the south and the north in Daniel 11. We'll read it together. And then there's the mystery king of the south and the north that are to come. And the king of the north is actually the Antichrist. And I'll show you. He divides the land for gain. And there's other things that show he is the Antichrist. And so we'll get into that next. But so first I want to... My kid just fell in the grass. Are you okay? She did the splits because the grass is all wet in her legs. She did the splits because if grass is wet, she's in a little pool, and she anyway, it was funny. Okay, sorry guys, I'm so distracted. Okay, so no, I'm focused. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, Daniel 11 is basically it's yet to be fulfilled in a way, and I think I know the Lord is showing me that the time is now, and yeah, I'll get into what it all means at the end. So first, let me show you what she saw on her video game. Okay, so this is what she saw. A message popped up on her video game, and it says, "Is it just me, Chief?" Okay, so this might sound strange, but whenever I see see numbers lining up, I get excited. Like if I happen to look at my clock just as the time flips over to 11:11, I feel like that might be important somehow. Your weird friend Marina. Okay, so this came up on her game now. This is so random. So she walks up to me, she's like, "Mommy, this is weird. Look at this. It talks about 11:11. I think this might mean something." And I'm like, "What kind of random crazy, because this game has nothing to do with any this is so you set up a little like town, like you have your own like village or town or whatever, and you have to set it up with you have to build it with like homes and businesses, and you have people moving in. Like Marina is one of her little villagers, and they're all animals, and you build it up, and she's like beyond loving this game. Anyway, point being is this is completely random. I get excited when I see numbers. The clock flips to 11:11. I feel that might be important somehow. What does that even have to do with anything? And what do you know? I was like, well, actually, there's a grand finale at the end of this video of why this is crazy, what the Lord showed me about this 11:11. Okay, grand finale at the end. Stay tuned for the end. But till then, I feel like he immediately was like, well, not immediately, but after I prayed about it, he was like, read Daniel 11, read Revelation 11. Okay, this is where we're at, guys. It's crazy. So yeah, I prayed and then he gave me an answer. But like I said, at the end, grand finale, I was like, yes, this is what's going on here. So I think we'll start off by reading Daniel 11. I'm reading in Daniel because I'm not going to even read all of Revelation 11, but Daniel 11 I do have to read with you guys. So I'm going to go through it with you, and as I read it, I'll just make a little commentary and explain why. Well, I guess I'll just get into it. I'll go into the commentary, and after that, I'll come back, and then we will. I have to flip into my Bible app, and then we'll talk about what it all means. So let's do that now. Okay, so we're in Daniel 11. We'll just start reading. Also, I, in the first year of Darius the Mede, even I stood to confirm and to strengthen him. And now will I shew thee the truth. Behold, there shall stand up ye 3 kings in Persia, and the 4th shall be far richer than all. And by his strength, through his riches, he shall stir up all against the realm of Grecia. And so this all already happened. And a mighty king shall stand up, that shall rule with great dominion and do according to his will. And when he shall stand up, his kingdom shall be broken and shall be divided toward the 4 winds of heaven. Remember that statue that Nebuchadnezzar dreamed. So this is all it all lines up. And not to his prosperity, nor according to his dominion, which he ruled, for the kingdom shall be plucked up, even for others beside those. And the king of the south shall be strong, and one of his princes, and he shall be strong above him, and have dominion. His dominion shall be a great dominion. And in the end of years they shall join themselves together. For the king's daughter of the south shall come to the king of the north to make an agreement, but she shall not retain the power of the arm, neither shall he stand nor his arm. Sorry, I'm reading fast because I'm just trying to get through just the first part. But she shall be given up, and they that brought her, and he that begat her, and he that strengthened her in these times. And you could do the research to see that these things occurred. But out of a branch of her roots shall one stand up in his estate, which shall come with an army, and shall enter into the fortress of the king of the north, and shall deal against them, and shall prevail, and shall also carry captives into Egypt their gods with their princes, and with their precious vessels of silver and gold, and he shall continue more years than the king of the north. So the king of the south shall come into his kingdom, and shall return into his own land, but his son shall be stirred up, and shall assemble a multitude of great forces, and one shall certainly come and overflow and pass through, then shall he return and be stirred up even to his fortress. Now, I never looked into it, but there could be parallels, just like there's Mystery Babylon and Real Babylon. There was real events that this happened, and could the king of the north, which is going to be the Antichrist, and I'll show you how, could he be fulfilling some of these other stuff too? I don't know. And the king of the south shall be moved with choler, and shall come forth and fight with him, even with the king of the north, and he shall set forth a great multitude, but the multitude shall be given into his hand. And when he hath taken away the multitude, his heart shall be lifted up, and shall cast down many 10,000s, but he shall not be strengthened by it. For the king of the north shall return, and shall set forth a multitude greater than the former. See, I don't know where it begins and ends, where it actually is talking about the Antichrist, but you'll see it actually is. You'll see. And some of it, it's talking about Antiochus Epiphanes, like as a forerunner. But you'll see why it's not just Antiochus Epiphanes, and I'll prove it to you why. For the king of the north shall return, and shall set forth a multitude greater than the former, and shall certainly come after certain years with a great army, and with much riches. And in those times there shall many stand up against the king of the south. Also the robbers of thy people shall exalt themselves to establish the vision, but they shall fall. So the king of the north shall come and cast up a mount and take the most fenced cities, and the arms of the south shall not withstand, neither his chosen people, neither shall be there any strength to withstand. But he that cometh against him shall do according to his will, and none shall stand before him. And he shall stand in the glorious land, that's Israel, which by his hand shall be consumed. Okay, so that could have been Antiochus Epiphanes as well as the Antichrist. So I don't know if this is where it kind of you see the similarities, but I'll show you in the end. He shall also set his face to enter with strength of his whole kingdom, and upright ones who with him thus shall he do, and he shall give him the daughter of women, corrupting her, but she shall not stand on his side, neither be for him. After this shall he turn his face unto the isles, and shall take many, but a prince for his own behalf shall cause the reproach offered by him to cease. Without his own reproach he shall cause it to turn upon him. Then he shall turn his face toward the fort of his own land, but he shall stumble and fall and not be found. So he's going to turn against his own land. Okay. Then shall stand up in the estate a raiser of taxes in the glory of the kingdom, but within few days he shall be destroyed, neither in anger nor in battle. I think that because Antiochus Epiphanes, I think, would die not in anger or in battle. And in his estate shall stand up a vile person, to whom they shall not give the honor of the kingdom, but he shall come in peaceably and obtain the kingdom by flatteries. Okay, I think what it's saying is this is the person underneath him. So the king of the north, and in his estate shall stand up a vile person. So what's going to happen is the king of the north, it says here in verse 20, then shall stand up in his estate a raiser of taxes in the glory of the kingdom, but within few days shall be destroyed, neither in anger or battle. So somehow this guy's going to die, and the guy underneath him, but not in anger or in battle. Like someone's going to kill him or whatever's going to happen, but not in anger or battle. And he's going to have a successor. Okay. That's related to also the 8 kings. Remember how it says the 6th king was not, and then the 7th was for a short time, and then the 8th was the 6th. Okay, so basically here, I think it's just like they all parallel, they all match, right? Just like Nebuchadnezzar's statue matches all of Daniel 11. It's the same. So this stuff happened, and it's going to happen again. So I don't know if there's a successor of Antiochus Epiphanes, or if this is now where it shoots into the end times. But I'll show you. It is talking about the end times. So then he's gone, and now in his estate, this is the Antichrist, shall stand up a vile person, to whom they shall not give honor of the kingdom, but he shall come in peaceably and obtain a kingdom by flattery. So now this is going to be some peaceable guy. So the first guy didn't come in peaceably, but this guy will. And with the arms of a flood shall they be overflown from before him, and shall be broken, yea, also the prince of the covenant. And after the league made with him, he shall work deceitfully, for he shall come up and shall be strong with a small people. So he's going to come up and strong with a small people. He shall enter peaceably, even upon fattest places of the province, and he shall do the which the fathers have not done, nor his fathers, and he shall scatter among them the prey and spoil and riches, yea, and he shall forecast his devices against the strongholds, even for a time. And he shall stir up his power and his encourage against the kingdom of the south, with a great army. So this is the war that's happening. And the king of the south shall be stirred up to battle with a great and mighty army, but he shall not stand, for they shall forecast devices against him. Yea, they that feed of the portion of his meat shall destroy him, and his army shall overflow, and many shall fall down slain. Now, I don't know, but it seems like Trump would be this guy. That's the king of the north, who it said died without violence or war. I hate to say that, but like that's what I would think. And then his successor, the person under him, would be the one coming in peaceably. This is what it sounds like. And both these kings' hearts shall be to do mischief, and they shall speak lies at one table, but it shall not prosper, for yet the end shall be at the time appointed. So now we're talking about the end. Then shall he return into his land with great riches, and his heart shall be against the holy covenant. He shall do exploits and return to his own land. Now all this matches up with Revelation as well. At that time appointed he shall return and come toward the south, but it shall not be as the former or the latter. For the ships of Kittim shall come against him, therefore they shall be grieved and return and have indignation against the holy covenant. So shall he do. He shall even return and have intelligence. I think actually Antiochus Epiphanes is this vile guy, and in the natural it already happened, and then now it's the Antichrist too. So that's what I'm getting here. And have intelligence with them that forsake the holy covenant, and arms shall stand on his part, and they shall pollute the sanctuary of strength, and shall take away the daily sacrifice. Now Antiochus Epiphanes did take away the daily sacrifice, and they shall place the abomination that make desolate. He did that by sacrificing a pig on the altar in Israel. But this is talking about both him and the Antichrist, and I'll show you why. And such, and I'm almost done, and such as do wickedly against the covenant shall corrupt by flatteries, but the people they do know their God shall be strong and do exploits. And they that understand among the people shall instruct many, and they shall fall by the sword and flame, by captivity and by spoil many days. Now, that is definitely Antiochus Epiphanes, because the people aren't in the end times aren't going to go back into captivity. They're going to flee. I guess it's kind of, because they're going to flee to the wilderness. Now when they shall fall, they shall be holpen with a little help. And, it could be two things. Like, remember, they have to flee 3.5 years in, and they get help from the Holy Spirit. Well, God, he sends a flood, the Antichrist after them, and then they survive. But this also it already happened with Antiochus Epiphanes, and they fled, and they got help physically. Now when they shall fall, they shall be holpen with a little help, but many shall cleave to them which with flatteries, and some of them understanding shall fall to try to purge them and to make them white even to the time of the end, but is yet for a time appointed. And the king shall do according to his will, and he shall exalt himself, this Antichrist, and magnify himself above every god, and shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods, and shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished. For that is determined shall be done. Neither shall he regard the God of his fathers, nor the desire of women, nor regard any God, for he shall magnify himself above all. But in his estate he shall honor the God of forces, and a God of whom his fathers knew not shall he honor with gold and silver, with precious stones and pleasant things. Thus shall he do in the most strongholds with a strange God, whom he shall acknowledge and increase with glory, and shall cause them to rule over many, and shall divide the land for gain. And I had done a whole video on that when the Lord was showing me about this annexation and the peace deal, and that when they divide the land for gain, it showed, like, the Lord just led me here. Oh, look in Daniel that the Antichrist is going to divide the land for gain, because people are like, oh, what's the big deal? I've literally never seen anyone talk about this verse. So that must have been the Lord. I couldn't even known he would lead me here. So the Antichrist does divide the land for gain. But again, remember, whatever the 7-year covenant is, it has to already be in place. But it's just weak. So, people saying, oh, it's Trump or whatever, he's dividing the land. It's leading up to me that it's just not going to happen until the Antichrist comes in, and then the land won't get fully divided, or the annexation, I don't know, until the Antichrist, which is around the corner, will come in and strengthen it and then divide it. I'm not sure. Maybe Trump will be able to go forward with it, but it's just going to be a weak deal. Then no one's going to go for it. The Palestinians and everybody are not going to go for it. So it's going to be strengthened because of, I believe, the rapture and other natural disasters. And so it's going to be easily strengthened. Anyway, so he divides the land for gain. That one's huge. And at that time of the end shall the king of the south push at him. And I don't know who the king of the south is. He's fighting. So basically the Antichrist. But I know, there's the 200 million man army. There's lots of different, I'm not sure. And the king of the north shall come against him like a whirlwind with chariots and with horsemen. But there's just war at this time. And with many ships. And he shall enter into the countries and shall overflow and pass over. He shall enter also into the glorious land. That's Israel. And many countries shall be overthrown. And we know the Antichrist doesn't do that. But these shall escape out of his hand, even Edom and Moab and the chief of the children of Ammon. He shall stretch forth his hand also upon other countries. See, he's given dominion over everything. They may escape, but he has dominion. And the land of Egypt shall not escape, but he shall have power over the treasures of gold, of silver, and over all the precious things of Egypt. And the Libyans and the Ethiopians shall be at his steps. But tidings out of the east and out of the north shall trouble him. Therefore he shall go forth with great fury to destroy. That could be Armageddon, and utterly to make away many. And he shall plant the tabernacles, because we know that he gets all these armies and gathered up to try to fight Jesus and his us coming back, right? Angels and us and the whole thing. And he shall plant the tabernacles of his palace between the seas in the glorious holy mountain. We know that's what he's going to do, right? Look at that. He's going to plant his tabernacle. Yet he shall come to his end, and none shall help him. And we know that does happen in the end. Now, why is this the Antichrist? Daniel 12. This is what the Lord showed me. Let's just go right. This is Daniel 12:1. And at that time, so not when Antiochus Epiphanes was doing this, at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince. Did Michael already stand up? No. Which standeth for the children. Well, sorry, I don't know if he's ever stood up, but this is about the end times. Listen, because it says, standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. So it was kind of like that then, but this is talking about there was never been, and it says Michael will stand up in Revelation, he will fight. So basically Michael watches over Israel, from what I understand. He's the angel over Israel, and Gabriel is for everyone else, or he's the messenger angel. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that's what I read. So the point is, this is the end times. There shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that time, same time. And at that time, the people shall be delivered, every one that should be found written in the book of life. That's the end, right? So when I was reading Daniel 11, I'm like, is this already happened or is it not already happened? And now I realize, no, it's already happened. Yes, some of this, but it's going to happen again. It's dual, just like the king of the south and north is dual, just like the mystery Babylon, there was a Babylon, is dual. So amazing. There's a spiritual and then there's the physical, or like the end time version and the old time version. And so, yes, there's parallels in that way. And some people say that's why they believe there's a spiritual, temple. It's not going to be a real temple, or the 144,000 is just spiritual. It's just us, and then there's going to be, or the two witnesses. Here's the thing is, there could be a spiritual aspect and a physical, but in this, it's actually physical and physical. Like, it's a physical, historical events happen in Daniel 11, and then physically, it will happen again in Daniel 12. It's not just like a spiritual thing. So, I don't know, like, I just know what I'm reading here is legit and how he's showing me, and it's correct. So, at that time, everyone's going to be written and delivered and, all the stuff. So, anyway, that's that, Daniel 11, Daniel 12, and that's where he led me when I saw this 11:11, and then there's a big finale at the end with what he showed me, why we're about to go home. So just stay tuned to the end, and yeah, I'll just stop with this reading here and then go back and talk to you about some more stuff. So, okay, after everything we read, the main thing that you need to, one of the main things you need to take out of this is Daniel 12:1 begins with saying, now at this time, Michael, the great prince, stands up. If you saw my other video, the Lord had said to me, you need to really focus on when I say at that time. Okay, so it says, now at that time, Michael, the great prince who stands guard over the sons of your people will arise, and there will be a time of distress such as never occurred since there was a nation until that time. And at that time, your people, everyone who is found written in the book, will be rescued. That's the rapture. So at what time? When this begins. Okay, so what he's saying is all that stuff already happened in Daniel 11. It's already happened, but it's also a mystery version of it all about to happen. And he's saying at that time, when that stuff happens, Michael the great prince is going to stand up. Now, that's the beginning of a fight. Okay, that's not the end. That's the beginning. That's when he begins to fight. And at that time, when he stands up, that's when everybody's rescued, okay? Or those found written in the book. So the thing is, it's, I guess... Okay, so I guess I'm going to have to get into Revelation 11 now, but I just want to make sure everybody understands that, all this stuff already occurred and that it is going to occur again. And it's key, who is this king of the south? Who is this king of the north? And I'll get into that next. I think the next thing is just to discuss Revelation 11. So Revelation 11, I'm not going to read it. I'll just paraphrase. Basically, it starts off talking about the building of the temple. And it says John was given a reed to measure it. So it's a physical temple. Now, people who say, where the temple, and it's not going to be a third temple, I don't agree at all. It says he has to measure it, literally. And also the fact that the red heifer, this whole thing, the 10th red heifer, it's very significant that it is the 10th. And this is to sacrifice for an actual temple. So I think sometimes people just want something new, and they're like, hey, what about this? Hey, what about that? And I've kind of just, recently I've seen some, YouTubers talking about, let's play with this, let's think of that, let's try this, you got to be really careful because there's new believers, there's people who don't really know the word, and I understand it may seem fun because you're saying, oh, I'm not really setting my hat on this, but it might be, maybe. I think we have to be careful with that. This is the word of God. This is not we have to be careful with just experimenting with what if this, what if that, and I'm not saying don't, keep your mind open like a Berean, but be careful when you're actually saying these things, saying, what if this, what if there's no third temple, what if this and that, and that leads me to the next thing about Revelation 11, which is about the two witnesses. I think the Lord is really pressing on me about this right now, and I was just speaking with a sister about it, and her and I were talking about the two witnesses, and what it was like, are these symbolic or are they actually two men? I've never thought they were symbolic, but there's been so much talk on are they symbolic lately that it's something that I said, okay, I'll, as a Berean, look into it, but I have no good spiritual feeling on that. It just doesn't even feel right, sit right in my spirit. But also, biblically, I've done the research and it doesn't really line up to me. I believe they are two people. And this relates to the whole 144,000, people saying they're not really what the Bible says. They're, it says there's male virgins, and then it also says the temple, it's not a real temple, it's just us, and the two witnesses, they're not real, they're us again. Honestly, it's wrong. Like, not taking God's word for what it is. Yes, there's a mystery, and yes, I'm even talking about a mystery, King of the North and King of the South, but this is, it feels almost blasphemous sometimes. Like, we're getting to the point where it's like, let's try this, let's look at this, let's look at that. It's like we're bored and we can't just take it for what it is. I'm not trying to judge anybody. It's just, we can wonder and, be Bereans, but it's like all three things now are, there's no two witnesses, there's no temple, there's no 144,000. Like, it's just enough. And I think the Lord is actually saying that right now. I think that's why he showed me this, because Revelation 11 is all about the temple and the two witnesses. And like I said, I was just discussing this quite a bit with the sister about why the two witnesses, like, are they, spiritual, or are they us or whatever? And literally, it's just like he's just really shown me that, guys, like, this is about to happen. It's about to go down. We can't start changing things now, because people who are left in the tribulation will be confused. Like, we have to seek the Holy Spirit on it. I think that's a big thing. We have to seek the Holy Spirit and say, like, Lord, what is the truth? Because we could say lots of things are a mystery. So I think that's what he wanted to show me with Revelation 11, because I'm telling you, literally, I have just been talking about it, about the two witnesses. And I think what he was leading me to was it's all in around the same time, and that we are on the verge of several things. So basically, the things that I think the Lord is trying to show me with this 11:11 in that video game was that the things that are about to occur are this war between the King of the South and the King of the North, which you can look at Gog and Magog, Damascus turning into a ruinous heap, and just, all the end time events that, relate to war. But basically, the King of the North is going to prevail, but he is going to, in the end, obviously not, but he's going to prevail in the beginning over the King of the South. He's going to rule. So basically what the Lord is saying is Daniel's 78th week is about to begin. The two witnesses are about to step on the scene, and the temple is about to be built. So after I was like, Lord, what is it with this 11:11? He's like, this is what's about to go down, and please take me at my word. And I feel like he's saying, like, there will be a temple. There will be two witnesses. There will be 144,000 sealed. Like, these things are going to happen physically. Maybe there's a spiritual side to it that I don't know. Maybe there's a dual fulfillment, just like I was saying with the King of the South and the North. I don't know that. But I do know the physical will happen. So as long as you believe the physical will happen, then, maybe if there's a spiritual side that the Lord showed you that he hasn't showed me, then that's different. Anyway, so when we were talking about the King of the North and the South, I think what I wanted to touch on was that physically it did happen, and it was south of Israel, okay? I do believe still it'll be north and south. I don't know of Israel, or, see, our map has changed. So I think the King of the North will be from the north, what we consider north. North of what, I can't say, but, there's a divide where we think these are northern countries, these are southern countries. I'm not sure, but see how this map just divides it? It is Israel at the front, the center. So south of Israel is like Egypt and all that stuff. So I don't know if the King of the South and North, because we're looking at our huge map, the North, the South, being the Middle East in general and things, and, Africa and that, side of things as a, against maybe Europe and North America. I don't know exactly. I'm just saying what I think it is the map has changed. So it's not exactly, now this is the symbolic, like Babylon is not going to be in where Babylon was. I don't believe Mystery Babylon is where Babylon was. I've done the research, and I feel like it's the U.S. So, if it's the U.S., then the North, could he come from the U.S. or the North or whatever? The point is, the Antichrist I'm talking about, the map has changed, and so now symbolically it's a different place. I don't believe it's the actual north of Israel and south of Israel, this fight that's going to go on. So I believe that's about to happen, that the Antichrist is going to come in peaceably, and that he's going to replace, it talks about replacing who was before him. And, I do not believe Trump is the person. I'm just telling you now, who's going to be the Antichrist. I believe he'll be replaced. So I can just say that when it comes to the statue of Nebuchadnezzar, the statue, we're at the toes for sure. You know, iron and clay, we're here. It's all about to happen. And basically, I think, like he said, he's showing me these several events, the temple, the two witnesses, and the war that is coming, and that it's all at the door. And now for the finale, like I said, when I was like, Lord, what is this with this 11:11 on this video game? Like, why are you trying to tell me something? So does it mean something somehow? And yeah, he did finalize something and just like put it right on my heart. But like I said, I just think this is, you know, just a warning that we're at the door of this stuff happening. The war is going to happen, and at the same time Michael will stand up and all those written in the book will be delivered. So it's at that time when these things take place, and you saw that timeline with Daniel's 70th week, or the 69 weeks, that the 70th week it shows rapture, tribulation, and that's the 70th week. So now for the final with the 11:11. So the final thing that I was shown was about the 11th hour. Now I was like, Lord, why with the 11? What's up with that? And then I just heard, don't you remember your last video? Literally, the video I did just before this video is called Rapture 2021, the 11th hour. And he's like, there's your 11. And I'm like, oh my goodness, wow. Because I had said in the last video that when I was having twins, I had a C-section plan that I didn't want, that I didn't actually need. And I'd been praying that I would have them naturally, and then just one day before the C-section date, one day before, I went into labor, had them so fast they came out naturally, and they couldn't do the C-section, even though they still wanted to try. The point is, even when I felt that pain that day, the Lord had said, don't I sometimes wait till the 11th hour, like, you know me. And I was like, Lord, wow, you just waited the day before. I asked you for weeks and weeks. Oh, sorry. He just said, don't I come at the 11th hour? And what is the video you literally did just before this one is Rapture 2021, the 11th hour. And if you know the fig tree prophecy, it is the 11th hour. Why I don't use the 40 years as in a generation is because people don't live 40 years. Why I don't use 120 years is people don't live 120 years, but 80 years, 70 years, 80 with strength is a real logical generation. So that's what I believe. Anyway, so that was my grand finale, why 11 is important, because we are at the 11th hour, meaning all these things are about to take place. So I sound like a flight attendant. I feel like I'm about to say, so please everybody stay in your seats and buckle your seatbelts and enjoy the ride, because we're taking off. I don't know why I just felt like I was about to say that, but anyway, it's true. Oh. And I waited to the day before, you know, just it's for faith and for his reasons, right? Like made me have faith. I didn't want it that way, but definitely, I mean, you know, he let them bake in that oven as long as they needed to, and then that was it. So he really showed me that, you know, he wishes none to perish, and, you know, there's our faith. It said the bridegroom tarried, and the reason I say 2021 is I just had a feeling and knowing, but also because that is the fig tree prophecy limit, really. Like, that's it. And of course, isn't it like the Lord to push it to the last minute? And for his reasons, you know, he's not slack as men consider him being slack. He's not late, but he does wish none to perish. And I'm sure in your own life you've been in situations where it's been at the 11th hour, where you're like, this cannot work, nothing's going to work out, and literally the minute before it's too late, it all works out. So that's how I feel like it's going to go down. And when I said, Lord, what's up with this 11, and first he took me through Revelation 11, Daniel 11, maybe because I was faithful with looking into that, he gave me more. And oh my gosh, I've stopped this video like 1,000 times because someone's crying, someone's falling, someone's calling me, someone's texting me. But anyway, I'm not going to complain. I just want to get through it. But yeah, I'm pretty much done. I hope you enjoyed it. I basically believe that all these events are about to take place. Like I said, the third temple, the red heifer, which is part of that. Like, we're at the door. It's 2, turning 2 in August. It has to be 4 to be sacrificed. And under to be sacrificed, it could be between 2 and 4. So this is literally it. So yeah, like, all these things are showing us that we are that last generation. And yeah, I just feel like when he showed me this through my little daughter about this 11:11 on her video game, it just definitely wasn't, I feel like, a coincidence. The fact that she's watching, she's been baptized, she believes, she's a Christian, she's full of faith at such a young age, and she is watching. And I think that's really great. And again, with all the war, everything that he was showing me with the king of the south and the north, that he's brought me through Daniel 11 and Daniel 12, and that's his thing that he's showing me, and that Daniel 11 and Revelation 11 is the two places he was trying to, I feel like, guide me through right now. And they are both about what is about to occur, which is with regards to the Antichrist and how he's going to rule with the one world, the New World Order, the one world religion, government, and monetary system. So I guess he's just reminding us that these things are about to take place, that the book of Revelation is coming to life, and that we are that generation, and the fig tree generation whole thing is about to happen, and that everything's falling into place. All the puzzle pieces are there, like the red heifer and everything. Like all the pieces are set up, and it's like people are like, oh, well, people thought that back in the 80s. People thought that back in the 1600s. Guys, like that is not the same. Yes, everybody was watching through all generations, but this is different. Israel came back to life as a nation, and it says those who see these things, that generation shall not pass. And they made mistakes in the past, like in the 80s, they thought that was a 40-year generation. But that's okay. They made a mistake. I mean, it's not okay. Some people did wrong things with that, but it's close. Even if it was, they had to wait from the 80s to now. Like, that's not even that long in eternity. That's not long in eternity at all. So they were off by a bit. Yes, they were off by a bit. But the whole point is people live to be 80. Like that's what they live. They don't, it's the 120-year generation. People don't live that long. The 40 years, people don't live that long. They live to be around 80. That's the typical amount of time. And the fig tree generation prophecy, I believe, it's just interpretation. But to me, it's pretty clear, it is that. So anyway, and then I've done videos on people on this earth who I think are going to be these kings of the south and north, and the false prophet and all these things, like people who are living right now. So anyway, obviously I'm preaching to the choir. So if it sounds quieter in my background, it's because I'm recording this on a different day, because I just gave up that day. I couldn't finish. So anyway, I guess that's pretty much it. I just thought that was crazy with the whole 11:11 on her screen. And I love how she's watching for the Lord and looking into things and asking him about stuff and then showing it to me. And yeah, I just don't think it was a coincidence. I think he brought me to Daniel 11, Revelation 11. And I think he also wanted to tell me about the 11th hour. I think that was the big finale that he wanted to say. Because when I asked him about it, at first I just was led to read. Then after I read it, was like, don't forget your last video. Maybe it was the one before my last, but I think it was my second last video. He goes, the 11th hour. Deb, remember, I come at the 11th hour. And what is the 11th hour for the fig tree generation? It's almost there. 2021, that's the 11th hour. That's the longest it can go if the 7 years is correct. And Daniel's 70th week is 7 years, and we're all interpreting correctly. But so many people have interpreted it that way. So many people are wrong. No. So basically, he's coming at the 11th hour, I believe. And that means that, he's not slack concerning his promises, but he doesn't wish any to perish. So he's tarrying. It says the bridegroom tarried. But, we don't have much time. So I have to remind myself all the time when I try to get involved in life stuff and then I'm like, I really need to redeem the time, while I still have it. So that's all I can say about that, and encourage you guys to do the same. If there happens to be anybody watching who's not a Christian or a believer, I just ask you to please put your trust in the Lord Jesus Christ as your Savior. And if you think, no, there's no way, I'm a Muslim or I'm Hindu or I'm Buddhist or anything else and I don't believe this, then I would just say, can you pray and ask the Lord to reveal himself? Say, Jesus, if you're real, or if you're the Lord, or God, if Jesus is who you say is the Son of God and you are one and all these things, show it to me. Can you show me? Just ask him and then he will. So that I ask you, please be saved, because the time is coming upon the earth. It has never been like before and is the worst it's ever been. You can be rescued and escape from it. And there's that. And then, if you were to die tomorrow, you would spend eternity apart from God in hell. Otherwise, you can be in paradise in heaven with him. Just ask him to show himself to you. If there happens to be anybody who's not a Christian, and if you are, I would just say redeem the time, have a relationship with him. I'm not here to preach right now. I'm just trying to show you the stuff that I saw and the stuff that he's telling me to share with you guys. So anyway, that's that. And I hope you guys are having a blessed day. Sorry it's so long sometimes between I do videos, but as you can see, the noise in the background and all this stuff, like I just have to ask the Lord for help to get things done. So anyway, that's that. And again, I hope you have a blessed day or evening wherever you are, and I will talk to you again soon. God bless and shalom.